Today, I'm turning basic keto cookies into these stunning Christmas cookies. We're making a keto version of a soft sugar cookie and stacking them into fun Christmas trees for the ultimate keto cookie that everybody is going to be shocked that it's keto. So let's get to baking so you can make your friends think that you've enrolled in pastry chef school, even though you've just been watching the Great British Baking Show every night on Netflix with a glass of wine and your dog and cat next to you. There's nothing wrong with that. First, we start with a medium bowl and one of these things. A sifter. Add in 1.5 cups of almond flour, a 1/3 cup of coconut flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of cream of tartar, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Sift that into your bowl, and I highly recommend sifting your dry ingredients because it gives these cookies the best texture that's fine and soft. It's not gritty or grainy that's common in a lot of almond flour cookie recipes. You'll see that after sifting your dry ingredients that you have some of this grittier almond flour left behind. You just want to toss that because that doesn't belong. It's going to make it too coarse. Set those dry ingredients aside and bring in a large bowl. Add 1 cup of unsalted butter that's softened to room temperature and cream this together with 2/3 cup of powdered sugar-free sweetener. And again, we don't want our cookies to be grainy or gritty, so we're gonna add in powdered sweetener instead of granulated sweetener. Sometimes that granulated sweetener doesn't dissolve when baking. Mix these together until it's fluffy and creamy. And to get soft cookies, you need to incorporate some air into this butter, so mix it for around 2 to 3 minutes. Then we're gonna stir in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and then I like to add a 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract just for a little bit of flavor. Then add in 1 egg and mix that until it's combined, and then slowly stir in your dry ingredients until everything is fully combined. Now we're gonna refrigerate our dough for 2 hours. And the reason why we do this is 2 reasons. The first reason is that it gives it time for all those flavors to meld together. And second, it helps prevent your cookies from spreading when they bake. And at this point too, you could actually stop and make your cookies later. You don't have to finish them and bake them all in one day. You could freeze them for up to 1 to 2 months or just keep them in your refrigerator for a week. To make our tree shapes, we're just making circles. And you could use a cookie cutter to do this, but I didn't want to mess with the hassle of rolling out my dough and punching out the cookies. So instead, I'm just gonna roll these into balls and then flatten them. And you wanna roll them into 3 different sizes. A large one for the bottom of the tree, a medium-sized one, and a small one for the top of the tree. The first one you wanna make around 1 to 1.25 inches in diameter. The second will be around 3/4 to 1 inch in diameter. And the third is about 1/2 inch in diameter. But honestly, you can make these any sizes that you wanted. You could go really big or even smaller. But it's best to bake all of the same sizes at the same time because the smaller you go, it's gonna take less time to cook because they all have varying temperature times. Times of cooking. Once you put the balls in a parchment-lined tray, you want to use the glass to flatten them down to about 1/4 inch thick. And then I just use a knife to scrape off the cookie. And if at any point you feel like your dough is getting too soft, just put it back in the refrigerator to harden up a bit, just around 5 to 15 minutes. And that way it just makes it easier to work with. Once your cookies are on the tray, I do return them back into the refrigerator for 5 to 15 minutes. This just helps to keep them from spreading when they bake. You want to bake the larger cookies at 325 degrees for 7 to 8 minutes. The medium cookies will take around 6 minutes and the small cookies will take 5 minutes. Basically bake them until they start to get a little bit golden brown around the edges, but not too much because you don't want to over bake them. It's going to look like they're not done yet, like they're too soft, but trust me, they're going to firm up as they cool. Now this is extremely important and where a lot of people mess up with making these cookies because they didn't listen to me or they're just too impatient. Do not, I repeat, do not try to pick up these cookies until they have completely cooled. If you do, they're just gonna crumble and you're gonna get mad at me and you're gonna blame me that this recipe didn't work when in fact you just didn't listen. I guarantee you that even though I'm telling you this now, there's gonna be people that don't listen and they're gonna get mad at me. Just read the comments down below because I'm sure you're gonna find some. While our cookies are cooling, let's make that buttercream frosting. And this is just a basic keto buttercream frosting and I love it because it's not overly sickeningly sweet like some buttercream frostings can be. Besides 1 cup of unsalted softened butter, add in 1.5 cups of powdered sugar-free sweetener and then mix that together until it's fluffy. Then we'll add in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And I'm gonna need a helping hand for this one. And we'll keep mixing that until it's light and fluffy. And if your buttercream is too thick, at this point you wanna add in some liquid. So I usually will add in 1 to 3 tablespoons of nut milk, or you could use heavy whipping cream. To get that bright green color, I added in food coloring. This is liquid gel food coloring. It's my favorite kind. I added around 11 drops of the green and then some yellow too to get that sort of lime or bright green coloring. So there was around 4 to 6 drops of yellow food coloring there. Then put this into a piping bag fitted with a large star tip and start building your trees. First, you take a large cookie and pipe some frosting, and then top that with a medium cookie, more frosting, then a small cookie and more frosting. And then you can decorate these with sprinkles. There's keto sprinkles like these, but they're not really Christmassy, so you could use these ones instead. And yes, they have sugar in them, and the keto police are probably gonna attack you, but you just tell them that these 12 sprinkles are what brings you joy and to mind their own business, and it probably doesn't really add that many carbs anyway. The keto police are just one of the many things that nobody needs on the keto diet, and if you wanna know some other ones that are overhyped and just not necessary to be keto, then just click right here.